Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to another episode of the Chocolate Shake. I won't be long. I just wanted to say that with everything that's going on in my life as an individual and the things that are going on in the world around me, it's very clear to me that in order for us to solve our problems as human beings, we must go back to trying to control our own nafs, we say in Islam, or our egos in Western speak. No matter what's going on, if a person has no control over their low desires, then there's just going to be no way that we can deal with those types of people or ourselves. We can't deal with our wives. We won't be able to deal with our children. We won't be able to deal with anything in this world if we cannot subdue our passions. This is where it is, brothers and sisters. Everything that we see going on in the world, everything in the political realm, everything in the social realm, everything in our private lives, it all revolves around our egos. So if you deal with your ego, then you have everything else dealt with. And as much as I search for solutions for some of the issues that I see that are going on in the world, all of the political upheaval, these wars now that are being started in Western Asia again, or what people call the Middle East, in Africa, the class wars that we're seeing here in the West, and particularly in America, all of this revolves around someone or somebody's egos. You know, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wa alihi, that is the messenger of Allah, on him be peace, and his family. You know, he told us that the biggest jihad, the biggest spiritual struggle is against ourselves. And the older I get, the more and more pronounced that becomes to me, right? The more real that becomes to me. Coming from a battlefield, the messenger of Allah, that is Prophet Muhammad on him be peace, told his soldiers, who he saw being congratulatory about their victory over their enemies in a battle, right? They were at war with another people. And on coming back, getting ready to go home after their victory, you know, the companions of the messenger of Allah, they start to pat their own backs, you know, they toot their own horns about the victory that they just had against the enemy. The messenger of Allah stopped them before they actually entered back into their nation. And he told them, look, you know, what you just did, it was a task. It was a daunting task. But compared to fighting against yourselves, doing that same jihad that you did against your enemy, now you have to do that jihad against yourself so that you can go back into your city. You can go back to your wives and your children. We can go back into commerce with one another, doing business. We can go back to our brotherhood and our relationships with one another. Our societal, to bring society back to a norm. He said, that's going to be the biggest jihad. Not that you just put down your enemy, vanquishing an enemy. The larger, the biggest, the most extreme jihad is the one that's against the self. Trying to take down your own egos, to be able to get along with your wives and your children, to be able to get along with your neighbors, to be able to get along with people who politically don't agree with you, to get along with your co-workers, to get along with your parents, to get along with your children. This is the greater jihad. And you can't do those things if we ourselves don't subdue our own passions. That means me, that means you, that means your children, your wives, your parents. Everybody has to get on the job of subduing their passions and doing war against their own egos. That is the crux of the problems, brothers and sisters. The crux of the problem for humanity is dealing with our own egos, point blank, period. Until that's done, we will continue to see humanity stuck in this, mire that we're in. We just can't evolve out of it. And we won't be able to evolve out of it until we take our spirituality seriously. The same way that we take our physical bodies, right? We exercise, same way we want our face to look pretty with all the face creams and all the lotions and emollients, right? All the things that we do for ourselves. You have to do that too, to the spiritual man. Same way now, every time I turn around, somebody's got a new psychological term, this psychobabble that I'm hearing in the West, right? Everything is, a struggle. Everything is narcissistic. Everything is, trauma. I hear that so much in my household and on my job and from the American population now, it's driving me crazy. This psychobabble is driving me nuts, right? Because all it is just one branch from the tree, the real tree of our egos. That's what we need to be talking about. In the same way that people are strengthening their psychology or their psyches, right? Their bodies. We need to start working on the self. We have to start working on the soul. We have to start working on the spirit. This is how we make the difference, brothers and sisters. So I was just looking at the news. I got a phone call from a friend. I got a text message from another friend. And people are really getting amped up and rattled by what's going on right now in the world, right? Particularly with the Trump administration being in leadership right now. It's like people don't remember the first time that Trump was president. Like, what did you guys expect? What did you think was coming down the pike? Like, what were you thinking about? Did you fall asleep at the steering wheel because you put an old senile man like Joe Biden in the seat? You thought like things were cool, that things were great? No. The humanity has to get down on itself and start trying to tackle that ego. And before I close this out, how do we do that? So, Chocolate Shade, how do you do that? Well, all the things you just said, how do you achieve that goal, sir? The way that you achieve that goal is by going back to Allah and going back to his messengers. And you use the formula that was given to us by the great divines long time ago. You got to go back to Moses. You got to go back to Buddha. You got to go back to Jesus. You got to go back to Muhammad. That's where it is. And all the other great sages who you could name, there are thousands of them that you could name that came to humanity as saints to give us a candle in the dark, right? That's what we have to do. We have to get back to understanding there's something out there that's greater than ourselves. There's a real living God. Allah exists. The messengers who came, they weren't coming for self-aggrandizement, right? They didn't come to stroke their own egos. They came as people who had reached a spiritual level of being conscious, right? Everybody coming against woke now, that's another thing. They then took woke and consciousness and they're making fun of that now. So now you can't even say that you're conscious. You can't even say that you're woke now in this world. That the devils are so clever. The devils are so hard at work that they got people now looking down on the word woke and assigning that word to something that it never meant, right? To be woke, to be conscious, to raise your consciousness now is something that people have assigned to issues that have nothing to do with being enlightened, right? They want you asleep. They want you to fall asleep, or if you're already asleep, to continue to be asleep to the point where you're not just sleeping, you're comatose. In fact, they just want you dead. They don't even want you comatose. They just rather have you just dead, not out of the way. So these oligarchs and everybody else and the devils, the shayateen, they can just go ahead and take over the world and do whatever they want to do. But again, in my divine tradition, we're told that Allah make men to check other men. That there are men that are created to check these devils. And these are our sages. These are the great divines that I'm speaking about. So there are ways to do it. There are ways to strengthen our spiritual muscles. And inshallah, if it's God's will, we can deal with that in the future. How it is that we have systems to strengthen our own souls so that we could put down the ego. Okay? So that's what I wanted to say. It's just that I got touched by this about 10 minutes ago. I just had to get on and speak on it, okay? So God willing, I'll get back on in another couple of days and we'll discuss some other issues. And again, if there's anything you like to talk about or there's anything you agree with or disagree with, please leave it in the comment section. We'll talk about it, okay? And I do get calls from you guys. I don't know why nobody leave comments except to say they like the video. But, you know, if you want to talk about something, leave it in the comment section. If you want to debate about something, and again, now, when I say debate, I'm not talking about argumentation. I'm just talking about sharing ideas because the Sheikh don't argue anymore. I'm done with that. That's a young man's game. I'm done with that, right? I've gotten to OG status now, and I know better to go back and forth arguing about things with people that I already know the realities about. And I'm here to help and to teach and to guide. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here to go back and forth with people over their silly ideals and fancies, right? That's not me. So if you like what you just heard, do me a favor and like it. And if you have not already, please subscribe to my channel. Love you. Y'all take care. Peace.